how to install Octopi on Endeavour OS Linux. Okay, so what is Octopi? Octopi is a graphical user interface, a GUI, for Arch-based derivatives, and it's a package management tool. It's kind of a front end for Pac-Man, essentially, is what it is. It's written in C++ using the Qt version 5 toolkit, and its source code is hosted on GitHub. So if you want to take a look at it, you can take a look at it there. The first commits date from February 2013, so it's almost about 10 years old. Octopi consists of a package browser, sudo helper, notifier, cache cleaner, and repository editor. And through the browser, you can search for packages from main and foreign repos, reinstall packages including local packages, remove, upgrade, visualize the files, and view repository changes and distro news. All package database actions that involve changes are performed using the pacman command, while the other read-only tasks are executed with ALPM, which is some kind of a Qt library help from that. You have to have that ALPM library, which I will show you how to install in order to install Octopi. Okay, so let's now that we've got some of the background out of the way, here's my Endeavour here. My Endeavour with Xface. You can see my Endeavour information here from NeoFetch. Okay, so we're going to clear that. Now to install Octopi, we're going to have to you're going to have about 3 packages installed, and since we're going to be using the qmake method, we're going to have one Qt5 library installed, and that will be the ALPM library, and then I'll show you how to do that in a moment. Okay, so in order to install Octopi and make it fully functional, we're going to need an ALPM Octopi utils library, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And then outside of that, you're going to need four packages. One is going to be, we're not going to use CMake. You saw CMake. We're not going to use that. We're going to use, first thing I want you to make sure that you have on your system is Git. I have Git. And then we're going to have make. Let's get the make version here. Okay, make. These were already installed on my system, and you also need a Vala compiler, which was also installed on my Endeavour installation. When I installed it, Vala compiler was already installed. Let me show you the version here. Here we go. Vala compiler version. Okay, so you need Git, make, and Vala, and we're going to install the ALPM Octopi utils library. I have to compile that separately by cloning the source code. And the other package you're going to need is a Qt library. So we'll clear on that, and we'll look for that qterm widget package, which was not installed actually on my system. So here's the command to do that. On Arch, it's pacman. So you go sudo pacman -S to install, and then we want this one. This one wasn't on my system already, so you might need to install this. So qterm widget, Q library. So once you key that in, enter on that. It should, on some Debian Ubuntu systems, it would say it's already installed. Here it's going to prompt me to reinstall it, go from the old to the new, which is the same anyway. So I'll just say yes on that, and just kind of reinstall it, and that's good. I'm not sure if you're able to check check a version on that. Maybe not. Let's see what happens. Alright, well, maybe it's not there. Okay, now we're going to download, we're going to clone the source code for that library, and we're going to build it with using make. Okay, so once you've made sure you have git, make, the valid compiler installed, and that qterm widget package installed, so those 4 things, once those are installed, we're going to go ahead and use git, and we're going to clone the repo for that library that we need to install Octopi. Okay, so once you key that in, this command in the clone it. We don't have this on our system now, but once we're done cloning, we'll look for this new folder on in our home directory. So once you key that in, enter on that, and wait for it to clone. Okay, that was pretty quick. So we'll clear on that. And I always like to take a look at what is new. And what was that? Let's see, right here. Okay, good. There's the new one there. That's what we just cloned now. The source code repo from GitHub. Okay? So we can clear on that. CD into it. Okay? And once we're in there, you know, I always like to just take a quick look around and just see if it's populated and everything looks the way it should look. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Okay, so we'll clear on that again, and while we're in, since we're CD'd in here, this is our working directory. We can run our commands now. We're going to run make in here, and we're going to let it run. And that was pretty quick. Take a look. A lot of stuff that's pretty hard to understand. But essentially everything worked out okay. We're faultless here, and we're good to go to the next step. So I'm going to clear on that, and then we're going to use make again with the install command, and we'll okay, permission denied. Don't let this panic you too much. That just means that I didn't do a sudo before, so we'll add sudo to that. Sudo make install. Okay, now it should work. Okay, everything went through there. Okay, good. And then on to the clear on this. CD back to the home base file, and we're on to the next set of commands. Okay, the repo we cloned before was for that library. Now we're going to clone. Now we're going to go back to the home working directory here, and we're going to use git clone again. And this time it's going to be the source code for the Octopi program itself. So once you key this in here, enter on that, and kind of the same routine. Once it finishes cloning, I'm going to check and clear on that, do an LSA to see if it actually did get added to my home. And here it is right here, Octopi. That wasn't there before. This is what we just cloned now. So I'll clear on that and CD into that. Okay, that's my working directory there. Okay, and now we're gonna do a couple more. Can ls into there, and we need to go ahead and do one more CD into the sudo folder right here. So we're gonna CD into the sudo folder. Okay, go ahead and clear that up. Okay, that looks good. Okay, and then we're gonna use qmake and run some more commands using qmake. Okay, now we're going to use qmake-qt5 in the sudo working directory here. So key that in, enter on that, let it do its thing. Okay, that was pretty quick. You see what it created here in this path. octopi sudo, and it created this this file here in the sudo folder that wasn't there before. qmake.stash. Okay, clear it up one more time, and still staying in the sudo the working directory of sudo. Make again. Let it work. Okay, that threw a lot of output to the screen, but everything looks like it went through okay. So we're left here in our working directory, still that sudo subdirectory. So clear on that. That's a lot of stuff there. So clear on that, and then make install again, just like from before. So enter on that. Oh, I keep forgetting the sudo. That's the permission denied error there. Okay, so we'll sudo make install here, and that was quick. Okay, that's good. Okay, we're pretty clear to this point here. Now I'm going to cd back to the helper file, to the helper folder, and on to the next step. Okay, from the sudo folder, I went back one level with cd, this command here. That put me in that Octopi folder again. Did an LSA here, and I wanted to see if helper was here. It was here, and then I cd'd into helper, and this is in an LSA on the contents of the helper. Okay, this is good. This is what's in the helper. So we're going to clear on that, and we're going to run qmake-qt5 again. Just like before, same thing from before. Okay, pretty quick little operation there. Okay, and then make install again. And then it's going to probably output a lot of stuff again. Okay, same thing, a lot of output. Looks like we're okay. And then sudo make install again. One more time. And that was a pretty quick operation. Okay, we're done with the make folder. Now we're going to go back one level from the helper back to Octopi and look for the notifier folder. Okay, good. cd into the notifier folder. Okay, clear on that. And just a standard routine, I always like to just check and make sure everything's as it should be inside. Okay, that looks good. And then kind of the same thing here, same routine again. Qt5 again in here. Okay, really quick operation there. And then make install again. Now, I'll just leave it here. It doesn't take that much. It doesn't take a lot of time really. It's 15-20 seconds for it to do its thing here. A lot of output. Main thing is though that there's no errors or warnings or anything like that. And so far it seems like it's working pretty smoothly. And then we'll do a make install once this is done. I think we're just about at the end here. Okay, that was a bit of a long one, but eventually we got through it with no errors, and we're on to the next step. So there's a lot of stuff here on the screen. So still in the notifier working directory there, and that was make. Then we're going to do sudo make install again. So once we compile it, it'll install it for us. You see the path that that built a module got added to this path here. Once we compiled it, then Make installed it for us. Okay, so on to the next compilation and installation process. Okay, from the notifier, we're going to CD back one level, back to the Octopi. That's our starting point. And we're going to be looking for a cache cleaner. Is cache cleaner here? Yes, it is. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and CD into that one. Clear on that. Check it out, make sure it's populated and it doesn't look corrupted or anything. Okay, it looks good there. No corruption, looks populated properly. Okay, good. And the same thing, we're going to run a qmake -qt5 again. That's a pretty quick little operation there. And then make, this is the big one here. This could possibly take a little bit of time. So still in cache cleaner, we'll make on that, and we'll be back when it's done. Okay, we compiled that module. Everything looked okay. All the output that we saw before, no errors. So that module has been compiled. Now we'll clear on that, and then we'll sudo make install once more, and actually make install that module into whatever path it deems it necessary to go into. Here's the path here. Okay, so cache cleaner module is done. So we'll clear on that. CD back to Octopi once more, our starting base, and we're looking for a repo editor, and there's the repo editor folder there. So let's CD into that. Okay. Check it out. Okay, it looks good to me. And kind of the same routine for all these modules as far as the compilation and installation process that we have to follow. So same thing again, Qt5 while we're in this working directory here. Pretty quick little operation as usual. And then the big one, the make one. This one takes a while to actually compile the source code. So again, we'll go make, and we'll be back, and we'll install this one module here, repo editor, and then we'll move on to the last one. Okay, once we're done compiling the repo editor module, then we can go ahead and clear the screen and go ahead and use make to install the module. Okay, good. So that module has been compiled and installed. Okay, we're on to the next and last step here. Back to the Octopi home working directory here, our base. Okay, and the same thing here. Qt5. Okay, good. And then the same. Now, this make will go ahead and compile the Octopi program itself, and then it'll install everything. It'll install, then the make install will install Octopi along with all the other compiled and installed modules. So make on that. Okay, once we're done compiling Octopi itself, then we're going to go ahead and do one more operation, and in a sudo session we're going to use make to install Octopi, and once this is done, Octopi will have been installed along with all its modules. Okay, good. So all the modules in Octopi itself have been all built, compiled, and installed. Now, you can also use a package build script that will help you build Octopi with all the tools, and it will actually be in this Octopi folder here. Let's take a look and see if we can find it real quick. Okay. It's not really a bash shell script, so I'm not really sure what to look for exactly. Okay, I think this is right, this package build right here. So, yeah, you might have to go into that directory and then run make package with a couple of flags. But I believe that downloading programs and from the repos and building and compiling and installing from source kind of gives you a little bit of idea of what happens under the hood rather than just having everything done for us. That's the Linux way, is to kind of know what the process, what steps are being taken under the hood instead of having everything automated for you, which is what this script would do. So we're gonna bypass the script, and we're just gonna stick with what we've been doing here manually, with cloning the source code file and building and compiling and installing from source. Okay. There's also another. You can also use the CMake system to do all this, and we're going to skip that, and we're just going to stick with what we've done to this point, which is using the Qt system. Okay. So at this point, Octopi and its modules have been installed, and next thing to do is to run Octopi from the terminal. So we'll be back to do that in a moment. Okay, so at this point Octopi has been installed, and since it's a GUI front end for Pac-Man, it should be in our applications. Okay, so we'll leave the terminal behind for a moment, and I have Xface here, so I'm going to just search for it here and see what comes up. OC, okay, just type in OC, and there it is right here. There's a few, couple of modules or helpers that we also, remember the cache cleaner and the notifier module that we built, compiled, and installed, or there they are there. You can deal with those later on your own time. And then here's the main one that we're interested in here, the Octopi front end, the GUI. Okay, good. Okay, so it's been installed, and it's going through some initialization steps here. Okay, that looks pretty good, pretty fast there. There's Octopi, and you can verify it here. Octopi, okay, good. Great. So that's the way to launch Octopi from your application folder, from your desktop. Now let's see what happens. Let's try to launch it from the terminal. Let's key in the path where the binary lives, and that path will be this right here: usr bin octopi. Okay, good. Auto completed. That means it's all. Since it's auto completed after I only typed in a couple letters, that means it's there. It exists. So once you key in the path where the Octopi binary lives, then enter on that, and let's see if it launches the same. Okay, great. That's what I was expecting. That's good. Obviously, you want to just launch it from the from your application launcher here. Okay. So that's it. That's Octopi, and then also the same thing that we saw, the notifier and the cache cleaner here. You can also launch those as well from the terminal just by saying, instead of Octopi dash notifier will bring up the notifier module here. And one last thing, so if you do want to launch it from terminal and you don't want to key in the absolute path, you can take this path here where the Octopi binary lives and put this path and add it to your path variable. That way, no matter where in the system you are, you can just type in Octopi and it will launch. But probably best just to do it from your application launcher here. Okay? So once again, this is Octopi here. Okay, so that was installing the Octopi front-end GUI package manager on Endeavour OS Linux. Okay, and there's a couple of websites here that I will share also in the notes for the video. I'll put some links in there so you can read over some of the Octopi documentation. Okay, thank you for watching, and I look forward to your comments and your feedback. Thank you.